So I recently participated in the March of Science, or March for Science, I think it was called, here in Normal, Illinois. The March for Science is, to support the scientific community and to support the idea of science over the idea of beliefs. And so I want to talk a little bit about my motivation, why I did this, why I think it's right to do that. Probably have heard a lot in the news and in the social media about fake news, about alternative facts, those kind of things. And I want to just tell you a little bit about my opinion about these things. So what's going on here? Let's see. I'm pretty sure we can pass these people. Alright, so let me tell you, as a scientist, I value facts. The facts are the facts. They are there, whether you believe it or whether you don't. It doesn't matter, the facts don't care. As a scientist, I deal with facts all the time. I carry out experiments. I see the results, my data points. These results are the facts. I cannot change them. They are there. I have to accept that they are there. If I bend the facts, then I falsify them. So, I'm dealing with the facts. I embrace the facts. I come up with ideas about what those facts mean. That's what we call a hypothesis. There are no alternative facts. It just simply doesn't exist. There is only the facts. They are the one true thing. You do an experiment, you get the data. These are your data points, these are your facts. There is no alternative to them. Now, your interpretation of what these facts mean, that is a very different thing. That interpretation is your hypothesis. And your hypothesis can be wrong. You can have, your data points and you come up with an idea why these data points are there. And those ideas might be wrong. Absolutely. Your hypothesis might be wrong. So, if your hypothesis is wrong, that is not a problem, because it's just your interpretation of the facts. That doesn't make the facts wrong. Now, that was smart. There's a lot of dead ends here. Alright, in any case, so your interpretation might be wrong, and that's okay. Actually, as scientists, we embrace the idea that we might be wrong, because we know that others come around and will improve our ideas. That's how science works. That's exactly how it works. That's the only way science works. So, we might be wrong. The facts are still the facts. Whoever comes after us, improves our ideas, still has to work with our facts. Whatever their ideas are, have to explain our facts as well. So, one of the motivations for me to go to the March for Science was exactly this. Because people call, some publications fake news or alternative facts. That's just bullshit. Fake news is something that you make up that has no ground, no particular reason why you make it up. It's just something that you come up with and you're like, oh, I'm just going to publish this. This is fake. In, science, there's no such thing. You don't just come up with a fact and, you publish this. That's not how science works. Every scientific publication goes through what we call peer review, and I've made a video on that as well if you're interested in how that works, but it's a very critical process that scrutinizes your facts or your experiments and your interpretations of them. So, And just saying, something is fake doesn't really make it fake. You have to make sure, what you're looking at. The facts are the facts. So you look at something that is in a newspaper or in a scientific paper, or, something that, who knows, a politician says, and you want to evaluate, is this true or not? That's the first thing. Is it true because you believe it is true, or is it true because there's evidence, other evidence, that makes it likely to be true? So, for example, if there's a measurement of something, you count people at an event, for example. All right. If you can do different counts, right? Could be, you're asking the subway company to tell you how many people have taken the subway on that day. That might not be an accurate estimate, but it might give you some idea about how many people went. Or, you might go and ask, the park rangers, see if they counted heads or something. You take the TV station and you ask them, how much do you estimate were there? Those are multiple sources, and if they all agree, it's very likely that a particular number is approximately right. Right? So that's a fact then. Now, if someone else then tells you, I think from my personal observation point, I was in the middle of the crowd or somewhere, I think there were more. So everything else must be fake news. That is complete bullshit. It is complete bullshit because it's based on a single observation from one person, and it's not objective, and it has not been scrutinized. So, there you have it. That's what we call, bias, your personal bias. Or if you do it intentionally, you're simply said a liar. You have falsified data. You are a liar. So, there goes that. That was one of the reasons why I went to the March for Science. The other reason is that as a researcher, I'm a neuroscientist, so as a researcher and an educator, I educate smart people. Smart people should, understand how, to test whether facts are true or not. My job as an educator is to teach them how to do that. What are the sources? How did we come up with this particular fact, this particular information? Could it be wrong? You have to be doubtful. In particular, if someone makes a very strong statement that's black or white, you can probably assume that something is wrong with this statement. Because the world is not black or white. The world is usually a lot of shades of gray. So, my job as an educator is to make sure that students understand how to find the truth, right? And to evaluate what that means. Now, I can't do that job if I'm being prevented from teaching the smartest people. The smartest people are not selected by income. They can be very poor. They can be very rich. I don't care. As long as they're smart, they're smart. They can come from all colors. They can be black, they can be yellow, they can be red, they can be white. We should embrace diversity. We should not exclude people from education and scientific knowledge or scientific literacy based on anything. Religion, race, color, it doesn't matter. Country, cultures. The smartest people come from all cultures. There is no reason why we should assume that some people are less than we are or better than we are. So, we should fight against discrimination, and in particular with the current administration that we have, I see a rise of discrimination. We should embrace diversity and not deny it. Only then, we can train the smartest people. Only then we can, as a society, move forward. Where do you think where all, our technological advancements came from? All of the treatments for the diseases that we have You go to the hospital, you get cancer treated, or Parkinson's. You have an iPhone in your hand, or an Android, I don't care. But all of these technologies are based on many, many decades of scientific research. Actually, basic scientific research. Not all of the research that has led ultimately, to these devices or treatments have by themselves contributed much, but they have contributed little, and then others have collected that information and made it so valid that eventually we can use them for treatments, for new devices, and so forth. So there you have it. We need to make sure that this process continues. And so one of the things that we need to do is also maintain access, right, to scientific literature, and actually give access to scientific literature, because again, scientific literacy should be the rule and not the exception. So if you want to make sure that people can read those papers, so they should be available to the taxpayer at least, right, because we all pay for it. Second, it should be available in the long run, right? You should be able to look up what people did 10 years ago. That's where I bought my motorcycle. So you should be able to look that up, because only then you can collect all of that data and come up with new ideas. So to make this a concrete example, if all the data for how global temperatures change over the years is removed, or you don't get access to it anymore, that is a problem, because you can no longer make predictions for the future. We can do those measurements, right? We try to explain how those measurements, what they mean, right? There's a lot of scientific evidence. I shouldn't say evidence. There's a lot of experiments that show that the climate is changing, and all of our best models indicate that this is man-made. And so the scientific theory, and if you can look up what that is if you want in one of my other videos, says that it's man-made. In any case, if someone removes that data so that scientists can no longer access it, you're actively interfering with our knowledge and the education. And so you're actively preventing us from being better as a society, and being better as human people, as human men, and being better as humans. So that's why I marched at the March for Science, against discrimination, to support the scientific process, and that we know what facts are, see what the truth is, support scientific hypotheses and theories, and prevent bending of facts because of someone's beliefs. And finally, so that we maintain access to scientific resources that are important, because that's how science works. Only if you guarantee access, you can make science work. And that's it for today. All right.